Most people have been conditioned to believe that manifestation is a complicated art form that requires endless rituals, carefully worded affirmations, perfectly timed visualizations, and constant effort to maintain a high vibration. But when you strip all of that away and actually look at what is happening at the quantum level, you realize something profoundly liberating. Quantum manifestation is stunningly simple. In fact, its simplicity is the very reason most people miss it. They are so used to believing that anything valuable must be difficult, anything powerful must require struggle, that they overlook the elegance of a process that is more about alignment than effort, more about coherence than complexity. Simplicity feels almost unbelievable because it does not match the programming we've grown up with, the cultural conditioning that says the harder you push, the more you deserve and the more likely you are to succeed. This mindset has led people into overcomplication, where they chase techniques instead of learning how to become a coherent signal in the field of possibility that surrounds them right now. When we say manifestation is simple, it is not to deny the depth of inner work that may be involved in clearing old programs or shifting long-held patterns, but to emphasize that the essence of manifestation is not in doing more but in being aligned. The quantum field, this vast space of infinite possibility, does not care about how many affirmations you recite each day, how many hours you sit in meditation forcing yourself to visualize, or how desperately you attempt to control your emotional state. The field is precise, not emotional, and it mirrors back to you the signal you are actually broadcasting, not the one you are trying to force. That's why effort without alignment creates friction. Forcing yourself into positive thinking while your body is still tense with fear is like trying to tune into a jazz station while your radio dial is stuck between frequencies, producing static instead of music. The field does not respond to the surface-level effort, it responds to coherence. This is where most people get lost. They believe manifestation is a battle to overpower their current reality. They repeat affirmations they don't believe, visualize outcomes they secretly doubt, and attempt to push their mind into positivity while their body is stuck in survival mode. And because the field is listening to the whole signal, not just the words, it mirrors back that noise, producing more chaos, more waiting, more lack. The truth is that manifestation is not about winning a fight against your current circumstances. It is not about trying harder or stacking more techniques. It is about shifting into the state of alignment where your signal becomes clear, stable, and consistent enough for the quantum field to collapse a possibility into your lived experience. In the quantum world, forcing is friction. The more you push, the more you affirm to the field that you do not trust the process, and that mistrust becomes the vibration that is mirrored back. When you see the simplicity of it, you begin to understand that manifestation is not about getting what you want, but about embodying the version of you that already has it. Instead of striving to change the external world, you shift the internal state that communicates with the quantum field. This is beautifully simple, but it requires you to let go of the illusion of control. It requires surrender, trust, and coherence, which feel unfamiliar to a mind addicted to struggle. The paradox is that the moment you stop gripping so tightly, the moment you let go of the desperate need for things to change, the quantum field finally has the space to deliver. This is why so many people notice that the things they had been chasing often arrive when they stop needing them so badly, when they soften their hold and allow life to flow. It is not because the universe is playing tricks or testing you. It is because alignment without force is the clear signal the quantum field can respond to. Think back to a time when something important arrived in your life, seemingly without effort. Maybe you ran into the right person at the right time, stumbled across the perfect opportunity without seeking it, or received an insight that shifted everything in a moment of stillness. These experiences were not forced. They flowed into your life because your signal was open, coherent, and aligned, even if you didn't realize it at the time. This is what quantum manifestation looks like when it is working correctly. The irony is that it happens more often when you are not trying to manifest, but simply living in alignment, relaxed and open. That is the simplicity most people miss. They are taught to chase and strive, but the real art is to embody. The real art is to be. Manifestation begins when you stop trying so hard to get and start focusing on becoming. Quantum manifestation is simple because it bypasses the need for external manipulation and turns your attention inward, to the place where the signal originates. It is not about speaking to the universe in perfect words, but about attuning yourself to the vibrational state that naturally communicates your desires. The universe does not speak in words. It speaks in energy, and energy never lies. You can affirm wealth 1,000 times, but if your body is locked in scarcity, if your nervous system is addicted to stress, the field reads that incoherence and reflects it back. On the other hand, when your thoughts, emotions, and actions align into coherence, you no longer have to chase results. Reality bends toward you. The external world reorganizes itself around your internal state, not because you forced it, but because you broadcast a steady, unified signal. That is the elegance of simplicity. The simplicity of manifestation also explains why so many teachings confuse people. They break manifestation into complicated steps, rituals, and formulas, when the heart of it all is coherence. Thoughts alone cannot create unless they are supported by belief. Emotions alone cannot shift the field unless they are stabilized by the body. Actions alone cannot produce results if they are motivated by fear or lack. But when thoughts, emotions, and actions line up into one unified signal, the field responds immediately. It does not matter how many times you recite an affirmation if the words do not match your inner state. It does not matter how elaborate your vision board is if your nervous system is still bracing for failure. The quantum field is precise, mirroring back exactly what you are broadcasting. That's why alignment matters more than effort. That's why simplicity is the key. The human mind resists this simplicity. It wants to add more to create conditions to control. People feel uncomfortable with the idea that their power lies in letting go, in becoming coherent, in embodying rather than forcing. It feels too easy, and yet it requires profound self-awareness and self-regulation. It requires you to stop outsourcing power to rituals and tools and begin cultivating coherence within yourself. That is why it is simple but not always easy. It is disarming in its elegance, but challenging to the mind that craves complication. And yet, once you see it, once you feel what it's like to broadcast a clear signal, you realize that manifestation is not a complex science of tricks and hacks, but a natural process that unfolds when you align who you are with what you desire. The truth is that you are always manifesting. You cannot stop broadcasting a signal because your very state of being is a constant communication with the field. The question is not whether you are manifesting, but whether you are manifesting intentionally or by default. Are you broadcasting coherence or noise? Are you aligning with the timeline you desire, or recycling the old patterns of fear and lack? The moment you shift into coherence, you move from unconscious creation to conscious manifestation. And that shift is the essence of simplicity. It does not require more doing, but more being. It does not require harder work, but deeper trust. The complexity dissolves when you understand that the quantum field does not ask for struggle. It asks for alignment, and alignment, when you learn how to embody it, is the simplest path of all. The quantum field that surrounds you and permeates you is not a passive backdrop to your life. It is an intelligent matrix of infinite possibility that is constantly responding to the signal you emit. This is where so many people misunderstand manifestation because they believe the field responds to effort, to how hard they work, how perfectly they phrase their affirmations, or how long they sit in meditation visualizing what they want. They think the more they do, the more likely it is that the universe will reward them. But the quantum does not measure effort in the way the human mind does. It does not reward struggle, nor does it punish mistakes. It mirrors coherence. It listens for alignment. It reads the signal you broadcast not only with your conscious mind, but with your entire being. And that signal is made of thoughts, emotions, and actions woven together into a frequency that is either clear or distorted. The field responds to clarity with clarity, to distortion with distortion, and this is why manifestation is less about doing more and more about becoming coherent. To understand this, imagine that the quantum field is like a cosmic translator. It is constantly listening to the information you are putting out and reflecting it back into form. If your thoughts, emotions, and actions are unified, the translation is clear, the message is precise, and the outcome collapses into reality almost effortlessly. But if your thoughts are saying one thing, your emotions are feeling another, and your actions are contradicting both, then the signal becomes scrambled. The field mirrors the incoherence, and what you experience in your external life looks like chaos, mixed results, or endless waiting. This is why people can spend years affirming abundance and never experience wealth, why they can visualize love and still feel lonely, why they can pray for health and continue to struggle. They are not failing because the universe is withholding anything, but because their broadcast is fragmented, and the field cannot deliver coherence when it is being fed contradiction. Your mind might tell you that you want abundance, but if your emotional state is steeped in fear of lack, and your actions are driven by desperation, the signal is incoherent. Your heart might long for love, but if your nervous system is braced for rejection, and your behaviors are guarded and defensive, the signal is incoherent. Your conscious self may declare that you are ready for transformation, but if your body is addicted to old stress hormones and your habits reinforce your past identity, the signal is incoherent. The quantum does not pick and choose between these layers. It listens to the whole broadcast, and the strongest, most consistent signal wins. This is why alignment is everything. When your thoughts, emotions, and actions all say the same thing, when they all flow in one direction, the message becomes undeniable. You become like a tuned instrument resonating a single clear note. And the field responds immediately because there is no distortion. The mistake so many people make is to focus on only one part of the signal. They think manifestation is purely mental, so they try to think positive thoughts while ignoring the fear stored in their body. Or they think it is purely emotional, so they attempt to feel good without addressing the beliefs that sabotage their consistency. Others believe it is purely action-based, so they hustle and grind, trying to will a new reality into existence without aligning their inner state. Each of these approaches can create temporary results, but they cannot sustain a new timeline because the field does not respond to fragments. It responds to coherence. If you say one thing with your mind, feel another with your heart, and do something different with your body, you are sending mixed signals, and the universe mirrors that confusion right back to you. This is why people sometimes manifest flashes of success only to lose them, why they attract relationships that mirror their wounds instead of their desires, why they experience cycles of progress and setback. Their broadcast is not stable enough to collapse the reality they want into permanence. The beauty of this truth is that it simplifies everything. You no longer have to master endless rituals or memorize complex formulas. You no longer have to fight with yourself or struggle to make things happen. All you need to do is align. Alignment does not mean perfection. It does not mean you never have doubts or never feel fear. It means that the dominant signal you emit is coherent, that the majority of your being is pointed in the same direction. You can wobble, but you return. You can feel fear, but you don't let it run your choices. You can have doubts, but you anchor and trust more often than not. The quantum field does not demand flawless purity. It responds to steady coherence. Even brief moments of true alignment can create powerful collapses in reality, because those moments send a clean signal the field can easily mirror. This is why practices like meditation, breathwork, and embodiment are so powerful. Not because they impress the universe, but because they regulate your system into coherence. When your mind calms, your emotions settle, and your body opens, you create alignment within yourself, and the broadcast becomes clear. This clarity is what the field responds to. It is not about how long you meditate, how perfectly you visualize, or how beautifully you word your affirmations. It is about whether those practices bring your thoughts, emotions, and actions into harmony, so the field has a clear signal to respond to. The moment you understand this, you begin to focus less on effort and more on alignment. You stop asking yourself how much more you need to do and begin asking how much more coherent you can become. That question changes everything, because it shifts you from doing to being, from striving to aligning. Another way to see this is through the metaphor of tuning a radio. If you want to hear a certain station, you don't sit there demanding it to play while staying tuned to static. You adjust the dial until the frequency comes through clearly. The quantum field works the same way. If you want abundance, you align your inner frequency with abundance. If you want love, you align with the vibration of love. If you want health, you align with vitality. This alignment is not forced through effort. It is achieved by bringing your thoughts, emotions, and actions into coherence. Just as a radio does not create the music, but simply tunes into the frequency where it already exists, you are not forcing a new reality into being. You are aligning with the version of reality that already exists in the field, and the moment your signal is coherent enough, that version collapses into your lived experience. This is also why the subconscious plays such a crucial role in manifestation. Your conscious mind may say one thing, but if your subconscious is wired for something else, the subconscious broadcast dominates. It shapes your emotions, drives your behaviors, and influences your identity at a deeper level than your surface thoughts. This is why so many people feel like they are working hard, but going in circles. They are aligning consciously, but broadcasting something different subconsciously. And the field responds to the deeper, stronger signal. True coherence requires you to align both conscious and subconscious, mind and body, thought and action. When these layers unite, the field receives a steady, unified broadcast, and the reality you desire collapses with far less resistance. The heart plays a key role here too. Science has shown that the electromagnetic field of the heart is far stronger than that of the brain, radiating out into the space around you and interacting with the quantum field. When your heart and mind are in coherence, your broadcast becomes exponentially stronger. When they are out of sync, the signal weakens. This is why manifestation is not about mind alone. You can think as many positive thoughts as you want, but without the emotional coherence of the heart, the signal lacks power. When you feel the emotion of what you desire as if it is already real, when your heart and mind agree, the broadcast becomes undeniable. This is what makes the field respond so quickly to moments of genuine gratitude, love, or joy. These emotions align heart and mind into coherence, producing a strong unified signal that the field can mirror back almost instantly. The simplest way to understand all of this is to remember that the quantum does not respond to effort, but to alignment. It is not about how hard you try, but how coherent you are. It does not require you to fight your current reality, but to embody the frequency of the reality you desire. When your thoughts, emotions, and actions line up, you broadcast a clear signal, and the field collapses the possibility that matches it into your lived experience. This is the essence of manifestation stripped to its core, not struggle, not complexity, not endless rituals, but coherence. That is the language the field understands, and that is the state that bends reality in your favor. The subconscious mind and the nervous system are at the very core of manifestation because they are always broadcasting signals whether you are aware of it or not, and those signals are far stronger than the words you speak or the conscious thoughts you try to hold. Most people believe that manifestation is controlled at the level of the conscious mind, as if repeating affirmations or visualizing outcomes could override everything else. But science and experience reveal that the subconscious is the true observer in the quantum field. It shapes your automatic reactions, your deepest beliefs, your emotional patterns, and the way your body responds to life. Around 95% of your daily behaviors, decisions, and perceptions are driven by the subconscious. That means you can consciously say that you want abundance, but if your subconscious is still wired for scarcity, that hidden program becomes the broadcast that dominates the signal. The field listens to the subconscious because it is steady, consistent, and embodied. The conscious mind may flicker from desire to desire, but the subconscious is like a low hum in the background, constantly informing your state of being, and the field responds to that hum with precision. Your nervous system plays a critical role in this process because it is the body's expression of those subconscious programs. When you have lived in fear, scarcity, or stress for long enough, your nervous system becomes conditioned to those states. It learns to expect them, it adapts to them, and eventually it becomes addicted to the chemicals that those emotions release. Cortisol, adrenaline, and other stress hormones create a baseline that feels normal to the body, even though it is not aligned with the life you desire. So when you attempt to think positive thoughts or visualize abundance, the nervous system resists because it is calibrated for survival. It scans the environment for threats, it braces against disappointment, and it contracts into familiar patterns of fear. This is why so many people feel stuck when they try to manifest. Their conscious mind says one thing, but their body is broadcasting something entirely different. The field listens to the body's frequency, and that incoherence becomes the reality they experience. Consider the way this shows up in daily life. Someone may affirm that they are wealthy and abundant, but when they open their banking app, their stomach clenches, their shoulders tighten, and their breath becomes shallow. In that moment, the subconscious program of lack and the nervous system's fear response are louder than the affirmation. Another person may visualize a loving relationship, but when they meet someone new, their body stiffens with anxiety, their heart races with fear of rejection, and they unconsciously sabotage intimacy. Their subconscious story of unworthiness and the nervous system's bracing response dominate the signal. Someone else may desire health and vitality, but their body is locked into patterns of exhaustion. Their subconscious holds memories of illness, and their daily behaviors reflect stress. The field is not punishing these people, it is simply mirroring the true signal that their subconscious and nervous system are emitting. This is the level where manifestation either succeeds or collapses. This is why it is not enough to repeat affirmations or practice surface-level techniques. The subconscious and nervous system must be addressed because they are the foundation of your broadcast. If they remain in survival mode, no amount of conscious effort can override them. The subconscious always wins because it operates below the level of awareness, constantly shaping your reality with the programs it carries. These programs are often inherited from childhood, from family conditioning, from cultural narratives, from repeated experiences that etch themselves into your identity. If you were told growing up that money is scarce, that love is conditional, that success requires struggle, those beliefs sink into the subconscious and begin to drive your broadcast. If you experience trauma, neglect, or rejection, your nervous system may have learned to stay hypervigilant, to expect loss, or to armor itself against intimacy. These patterns live beneath the surface, but they are loud and clear in the language of energy, and the field responds to them without distortion. The heart of transformation in manifestation is therefore not simply thinking differently, but reprogramming the subconscious and regulating the nervous system. This is what creates true coherence. When the subconscious is cleared of limiting beliefs and infused with new empowering programs, the background broadcast changes. When the nervous system is soothed, regulated, and recalibrated toward safety and trust, the body begins to resonate with a new frequency. Together, these shifts create a foundation where your conscious desires and your unconscious programs finally align. The field then receives a unified message rather than a contradictory one, and that unity allows your desired timeline to collapse into reality. Without this deeper work, most manifestation attempts remain surface level, like painting over cracks in a wall without repairing the foundation. The subconscious and nervous system are the foundation, and when they are coherent, manifestation becomes natural. It is fascinating to notice how the subconscious reveals itself through automatic language, habits, and identity. Someone may say they want success, but in casual conversation, they describe themselves as unlucky, unworthy, or stuck. That is the subconscious speaking. Someone may want abundance, but they hoard, avoid generosity, and live in constant anxiety about money. That is the subconscious expressing itself through behavior. Someone may want love, but they attract partners who repeat old wounds. That is the subconscious recreating familiar patterns. The nervous system supports these patterns by firing the same pathways, releasing the same hormones, and keeping the body in the state that matches the subconscious program. This cycle reinforces itself until you become aware of it and begin to shift. Awareness is the first step because you cannot change what you do not notice. When you bring subconscious beliefs into the light and observe nervous system patterns in real time, you create the possibility of transformation. You begin to recognize that your current reality is not evidence of failure, but evidence of the programs you have been running. And programs can be rewritten. Reprogramming the subconscious is not about forcing new beliefs on top of old ones, but about creating experiences that convince the subconscious of a new reality. The subconscious learns through repetition, emotion, and embodiment. Visualization becomes powerful not when it is mechanical, but when it is emotional enough to feel real. Affirmations work not when they are repeated by rote, but when they are embodied in action and reinforced by consistent evidence. Subconscious reprogramming often requires entering states where the critical mind relaxes, such as meditation, hypnosis, or deep relaxation, because these states allow new information to bypass resistance and sink into the subconscious. Similarly, regulating the nervous system is not about suppressing fear, but about teaching the body new patterns of safety. Practices like deep breathing, mindfulness, somatic release, and heart coherence exercises begin to reset the nervous system. Over time, the body learns to live in trust rather than fear, in openness rather than contraction. As the body shifts, the broadcast shifts, and the field mirrors a new reality. This is why heart-brain coherence is so central to manifestation. The heart generates an electromagnetic field that extends far beyond the body, and this field interacts with the quantum field around you. When the heart and brain are synchronized, When emotions of gratitude, love, and trust align with thoughts of possibility and intention, the signal becomes powerful and coherent. The nervous system calms, the subconscious feels safe, and the entire system broadcasts a unified frequency. This is the state from which manifestation flows naturally. It does not require struggle because the broadcast is clear. It does not require effort because the field is not resisting mixed signals. The subconscious and nervous system have become allies instead of saboteurs, and the external world begins to reflect that shift. To fully grasp this, imagine two different people, both trying to manifest abundance. The first person repeats affirmations every day, visualizes wealth, and forces themselves to think positively. But deep down they carry the story that money is scarce and that they are unworthy of success. Their nervous system is anxious whenever bills arrive. Their body tenses when they think about finances, and their actions are driven by desperation. Their broadcast is incoherent, and the field reflects scarcity back to them. The second person focuses less on affirmations and more on shifting their state. They work on releasing inherited beliefs about scarcity. They practice regulating their nervous system until they feel safe in their body. They cultivate feelings of gratitude and generosity, and they align their actions with trust. Over time, their subconscious absorbs the message that abundance is natural. Their nervous system stabilizes into a new baseline of calm, and their broadcast becomes coherent. The field mirrors that coherence, and opportunities, synchronicities, and resources begin to appear. Both people wanted the same thing, but one tried to manifest with surface effort, while the other changed the deeper broadcast. The difference is not effort but alignment, and alignment always begins with the subconscious and nervous system. This is why the most powerful shift you can make in manifestation is to move from trying to override your subconscious with willpower to working with it, from ignoring your body to regulating it, from bypassing your fear to soothing it. When you do this, you no longer fight against yourself. You no longer send contradictory messages into the field. Instead, your conscious intentions, subconscious programs, and bodily states begin to align into one unified broadcast. That broadcast is what the field hears, and the field always responds with precision. This is the reason so many people feel as though manifestation is not working for them, when in truth it is working perfectly. Only it is mirroring the subconscious and nervous system rather than the conscious mind. Once you understand this, you no longer waste energy on blaming the universe or doubting your power. You begin to take responsibility for your inner state, knowing that the subconscious and nervous system are not obstacles but gateways. They are the hidden levers of creation, and when you align them with your conscious desires, manifestation ceases to be a struggle and becomes the natural expression of who you are. Energy is the currency of the universe, and wherever you place your attention, you are investing that currency. Most people think of attention as something light or fleeting, as though it does not carry weight. But in truth, attention is one of the most powerful forces you possess because it determines the flow of energy. The quantum field does not respond to words alone. It responds to vibration, and vibration is determined by the quality of your attention and the emotional energy behind it. When you consistently focus your attention on fear, doubt, and lack, you are feeding those possibilities with energy. You are rehearsing those futures, giving them substance in the field, and anchoring them into your nervous system as if they are real. The field does not judge whether what you are focusing on is what you want or what you fear. It simply responds to the signal. This is why people often experience the very outcomes they dread the most, because their attention feeds those outcomes into existence. Attention works like a magnifying glass. Whatever you place it on grows larger in your experience, not because it was absent before, but because your energy sharpens it. amplifies it, and attracts supporting evidence to reinforce it. If you focus your attention on scarcity, you begin to notice more situations that confirm scarcity. Your subconscious filters reality in a way that highlights lack. Your nervous system tenses whenever money is discussed, and your actions are driven by avoidance or desperation. In this way, attention perpetuates cycles, because the more you focus on a particular reality, the more evidence you find to confirm it, and the more your energy continues to feed it. But the same principle works in your favor when you intentionally redirect your attention to possibility, to abundance, to gratitude. By doing so, you begin to collapse new timelines, to broadcast new frequencies, and to align with experiences that match that focus. This is not fantasy, it is physics, because the field responds to the coherence of energy, not the content of thought. Many people underestimate how scattered their attention really is. They say they are focusing on what they want, but throughout the day their energy is being drained into countless distractions, worries, and unconscious patterns. They scroll through social media, unconsciously comparing themselves to others, feeding programs of inadequacy. They worry about what might go wrong in their relationships, reinforcing fear of abandonment. They play out worst-case scenarios in their mind, creating vivid, energetic rehearsals of outcomes they do not want. All of this is attention, and all of it is energy being invested into futures that do not serve them. They may spend a few minutes visualizing abundance in the morning, but then spend the next 12 hours vibrating in fear, doubt, and lack. The field responds to the dominant signal, not the fleeting desire. Attention is not about moments of focus. It is about the ongoing current of energy you are broadcasting, and that current is shaped by where you habitually place your awareness. To understand the power of attention, consider how it affects not only your inner state but your biology. When your attention dwells on fear, your body releases stress hormones, your immune system weakens, and your nervous system prepares for survival. This creates a feedback loop where the body begins to crave and expect those stress chemicals, pulling your attention back to the very thoughts and worries that generate them. On the other hand, when your attention is placed on gratitude, love, and trust, your body releases chemicals that promote healing, relaxation, and vitality. Your nervous system shifts into regulation. Your heart generates a coherent field, and your mind becomes more open to possibilities. The direction of your attention literally alters your chemistry, which alters your vibration, which alters your broadcast to the field. Attention is therefore not only energetic, but physiological. It shapes both the inner landscape of your body and the outer landscape of your reality. One of the most profound truths about attention is that it collapses potential into reality. The quantum field holds infinite possibilities, but your attention selects which of those possibilities begin to take form. In physics, this is known as the observer effect. Particles behave differently when observed because observation itself influences outcomes. In the same way, your attention is an act of observation that brings certain futures into focus. If your attention is dominated by past pain, you collapse futures that repeat that pain. If your attention is directed toward potential, you collapse futures that reflect growth and expansion. This is why presence is so powerful, because in presence you withdraw your attention from rehearsing the past or fearing the future, and you place it in the now, where the field is most malleable. In presence you are no longer feeding unconscious patterns. You are creating from choice rather than habit, and that choice is what allows new realities to emerge. It is important to recognize that attention is not passive. Wherever you place it, you are entering into a relationship with that experience. When you focus on gratitude, you are entering into relationship with abundance. When you focus on love, you are entering into relationship with connection. When you focus on lack, you are entering into relationship with scarcity. These relationships shape your reality because they shape your state of being. The more you invest attention into a particular state, the more familiar it becomes, and the more natural it feels to live there. This is why attention must be guarded with the same care you would give to your most valuable resources. If you would not hand your money to a thief, why hand your attention to fear? If you would not give your home to a stranger, why give your attention to distractions that drain your energy? Attention is your creative power, and where you place it is where you are saying to the universe, more of this. Training your attention is not about denying reality or pretending negative circumstances do not exist. It is about choosing not to energize them with unnecessary focus. You acknowledge challenges without feeding them. You face difficulties without rehearsing them endlessly. You redirect your attention to the aspects of your life that reflect possibility, gratitude, and growth, because that is where energy flows most fruitfully. This is why practices like meditation are so transformative, because they train you to notice where your attention has wandered and to gently bring it back. Over time, this builds the muscle of focus, allowing you to direct your energy with intention rather than scatter it unconsciously. Attention is like a lens that can be sharpened, and the clearer the lens, the more powerful the broadcast. A distracted mind sends a scattered signal, but a focused mind sends a coherent one, and coherence is what the field responds to most powerfully. Think about the ways attention shapes even the simplest experiences. When you taste food but your attention is on your phone, the experience feels dull. When you bring your full attention to the taste, the texture, the aroma, the experience becomes rich and vivid. The same applies to manifestation. When your attention is scattered, your desires feel distant and unclear. When your attention is focused, your desires feel alive and immediate. This is why presence and embodiment are key to manifestation. The more fully you can place your attention on the reality you desire, the more alive it becomes in your nervous system, and the more convincingly you broadcast it into the field. The field does not distinguish between a vividly imagined reality and a physical one. It simply responds to the emotional and energetic frequency being broadcast. Attention makes that broadcast real, not in the future but in the now. Attention is also a form of devotion. What you consistently focus on is what you are worshiping with your energy, whether consciously or not. If you devote your attention to fear, you make fear your God. If you devote it to love, you make love your guide. This is why spiritual traditions have always emphasized mindfulness, prayer, and focus, because they understood that the quality of attention determines the quality of life. Even in mundane moments, the way you use your attention is shaping your destiny. Do you place it on gratitude when you wake up or on anxiety about the day? Do you place it on opportunities or on obstacles? Do you place it on the possibility of healing or the memory of illness? Each choice of attention is an energetic investment, and over time those investments accumulate into the reality you live. Just as small financial investments compound into wealth, small choices of attention compound into manifested realities. It is also worth noting that attention is deeply tied to identity. Where you place your attention reflects who you believe you are. If you consistently focus on lack, you reinforce the identity of someone who lives in scarcity. If you consistently focus on love, you reinforce the identity of someone who is worthy of connection. This creates a feedback loop where your attention shapes your identity, and your identity shapes your attention. To break free from old cycles, you must interrupt this loop by consciously redirecting attention to the identity you are choosing to embody. For instance, rather than focusing on what is missing, you place your attention on the small evidences of abundance already present in your life. Rather than focusing on rejection, you place your attention on the connections you already have. Over time, these choices rewire your subconscious, regulate your nervous system, and reinforce the identity of the person who already lives in the reality you desire. Attention becomes the bridge between who you have been and who you are becoming. Attention also requires discernment, because not everything deserves your energy. Many people exhaust themselves by placing attention on things they cannot control, draining their energy into endless cycles of worry. But when you redirect your attention to what is within your power, your state, your choices, your actions, you reclaim that energy. The field responds not to desperation, but to empowered attention. By placing your awareness on what you can influence, you create momentum. You begin to act in alignment with your desires, and the field mirrors that alignment. Attention without action remains incomplete, but attention that fuels aligned action becomes unstoppable. It turns vision into embodiment, intention into manifestation, possibility into reality. This is why some people seem to manifest effortlessly. They are not more gifted or more deserving. They are simply more consistent with their attention. They do not allow fear to dominate their inner dialogue. They do not waste energy on distractions. They consistently place their awareness on gratitude, possibility, and alignment. Their attention becomes a steady current rather than a scattered storm, and the field responds with precision. They are broadcasting one coherent signal rather than a dozen conflicting ones. In this way, attention becomes the most valuable tool in the manifestation process, because it determines not only what you are creating, but how quickly and clearly it arrives. Belief is the engine that drives manifestation, because it is the inner permission slip you give yourself to receive. Without belief, your desires remain ideas floating in the abstract, never fully taking root in your nervous system or your energetic field. Belief is not simply a thought repeated over and over. It is the conviction that something is already real, already true, already possible for you. When belief takes hold, it bypasses doubt. It overrides fear, and it anchors a new reality in your subconscious mind. The universe does not give you what you ask for with your words. It gives you what you expect with your energy. And expectation is nothing more than belief in motion. When you believe, you are not hoping something will happen. You are living as though it already has. And that vibration is what aligns you with the frequency of the outcome you desire. The power of belief can be seen everywhere in life. When someone believes they can heal, their body begins to respond to that belief. Countless studies have documented the placebo effect, where patients given sugar pills with no medicinal value experienced real healing simply because they believed they were being treated. Their belief triggered a cascade of physiological changes, releasing chemicals in the body that produced measurable improvement. What this shows us is that the body does not distinguish between belief and reality. It responds to belief as if it is reality. The same principle applies to every area of life. If you believe you are capable, your actions begin to reflect that capacity, your choices reflect confidence, and opportunities seem to appear in alignment with that belief. If you believe you are unworthy, you sabotage opportunities, shrink away from possibilities, and unconsciously reinforce the very lack you fear. Belief, in this sense, is self-fulfilling because it shapes perception, action, and energy. Belief works at the subconscious level, which is why mere positive thinking is often not enough. You can repeat affirmations all day, but if deep inside you do not truly believe them, they will not carry weight in your field. The subconscious holds the programs of identity and expectation, and it is those programs that the universe responds to most powerfully. This is why inner work is essential. You must confront the limiting beliefs you inherited from family, culture, or past experience, and consciously choose to replace them with beliefs that align with your desires. For example, if you grew up believing money is scarce, that belief may be operating beneath the surface, even as you consciously affirm abundance. Until you reprogram the subconscious belief, your energy will continue to broadcast scarcity, and your reality will reflect it. Belief, therefore, is both a choice and a practice. You must choose what to believe and then reinforce it until it becomes the automatic program of your mind. One of the most powerful ways belief influences manifestation is through identity. When you believe you are already the person who has what you desire, your energy shifts instantly. You begin to make choices in alignment with that identity. You begin to carry yourself differently, and the universe responds to that signal. This is why belief is more than mental agreement. It is embodiment. If you believe you are abundant, you walk with generosity. If you believe you are loved, you radiate openness. If you believe you are successful, you move with confidence. These are not performances, they are natural outflows of belief. You no longer try to attract abundance, love, or success. You embody them, and the embodiment magnetizes circumstances that match. The shift is subtle yet profound. You are no longer asking for what you desire from a place of lack. You are expressing it from a place of being. Belief collapses the gap between desire and reality because it convinces your system that the gap does not exist. Belief is also contagious. The energy of your belief influences others, often without words. When you deeply believe in your vision, people feel it. They are drawn to it, inspired by it, and willing to support it. History is full of leaders, inventors, and visionaries who carried beliefs so strong that they pulled others into their field. When the Wright brothers believed they could fly, most of the world considered it impossible. Yet their conviction attracted the persistence, creativity, and resources needed to make it real. When entrepreneurs believe in their ideas, they inspire investors, employees, and customers to believe too. Belief generates momentum because it radiates certainty, and certainty is magnetic. This is why your belief not only creates your reality, but also influences the collective. When you hold a belief with conviction, you contribute to shifting what others believe is possible, and in doing so, you help reshape reality itself. To cultivate belief, it is necessary to bridge the gap between what you desire and what your current reality reflects. If your reality shows lack, yet you desire abundance, belief requires you to see beyond what is visible and trust in what is unfolding. This is why belief is often described as faith, because it requires you to act as though something is true before the evidence appears. This is not delusion, it is alignment. If you only believe when evidence confirms it, you are reacting to reality rather than creating it. True belief precedes evidence, and in doing so, it generates the conditions for evidence to appear. Think of a gardener planting seeds. The gardener does not need to see the plant sprouting to believe it will grow. They believe in the process. They water the soil. They nurture the seed. And their consistent belief eventually produces visible results. Manifestation works the same way. Your belief is the seed, your consistent focus and energy are the water, and your reality is the soil. Over time, the seed of belief grows into visible form. It is important to understand that belief is not about forcing yourself to deny doubt, but about choosing to feed faith more than fear. Doubt will arise, it is part of being human. The question is where you place your energy. If you dwell on doubt, you strengthen it, and it becomes the dominant broadcast. If you acknowledge doubt but continue to nurture belief, belief grows stronger until it becomes natural. This is why practices like visualization are powerful tools for belief. When you vividly imagine yourself already living your desired reality, your subconscious cannot distinguish between imagination and actual experience. It begins to encode that imagined reality as memory, and belief takes root. Over time, with repetition and emotional engagement, the imagined becomes familiar, and familiarity breeds belief. You no longer wonder if it is possible. You feel that it already is. And that feeling is the language the universe responds to. Belief also determines resilience. When setbacks occur, as they inevitably do, belief keeps you moving forward. Without belief, obstacles feel like confirmation of failure, and you give up. With belief, obstacles become temporary detours, and you persist until the outcome materializes. Belief allows you to hold the vision steady even when circumstances contradict it. It gives you the strength to act as if, to embody your desired reality, and to continue broadcasting that frequency regardless of external noise. This persistence is what allows manifestation to occur, because the field responds not to fleeting desire, but to consistent vibration. Belief keeps that vibration consistent, steady, and unwavering. It is the anchor that prevents you from being swept away by doubt, fear, or delay. It is also worth noting that belief can expand. What feels impossible today can become believable tomorrow if you stretch your imagination and expose yourself to new possibilities. For example, if you cannot yet believe in massive abundance, begin by believing in small abundance. Look for evidence of small wins, small blessings, small opportunities, and allow those to expand your capacity for belief. Over time, as your nervous system becomes comfortable with small manifestations, you will naturally grow into larger ones. Belief builds upon itself, and each manifestation becomes evidence that strengthens the next. This is why it is so important to celebrate every sign of progress, every synchronicity, every answered intention, because these reinforce the subconscious program of belief. The more evidence you collect, the easier it becomes to believe, and the easier it becomes to manifest more. Belief is not static, it is dynamic, which means you can always choose to upgrade it. Many people live their lives bound by beliefs they never consciously chose. They inherited beliefs about money, relationships, success, and worthiness from parents, teachers, or society, and then lived those beliefs as though they were truth. But beliefs are not truth, they are agreements. They are contracts you can choose to rewrite at any time. When you realize this, you step into your creative power. You recognize that you do not have to live by the belief that money is hard to earn, or that love is scarce, or that success is for others but not for you. You can choose to release those agreements and adopt new ones. That money flows easily, that love is abundant, that success is natural. The moment you shift belief, you shift vibration, and the moment you shift vibration, you shift reality. This is how powerful belief truly is. Belief is the key that unlocks the door between desire and embodiment. It transforms wishing into knowing, hoping into expecting, and waiting into receiving. It is the difference between looking at your desire as something far away and living it as something present. Without belief, manifestation remains theoretical. With belief, manifestation becomes inevitable, because the field mirrors not what you say but what you believe. Your task, then, is not to force the universe to deliver, but to align your belief so deeply that you no longer question whether it will arrive. You live in the certainty of it, you feel the reality of it, and you embody the frequency of it, and the universe has no choice but to respond in kind. Gratitude is the multiplier of manifestation, because it turns whatever you have into more, and shifts your vibration into a state of receptivity. It is not merely saying thank you for what you already see in your life. It is a frequency that expands the present moment and aligns you with the abundance of the universe. When you live in gratitude, you affirm to the universe that you recognize the blessings that have already been given to you, and by that recognition, you open the door to receive more. Gratitude dissolves lack because it shifts your focus from what is missing to what is present. It changes your energetic posture from reaching and grasping into allowing and receiving. The truth is that the universe responds not to what you say you want, but to the energy you embody, and gratitude is one of the highest vibrations you can hold. When you feel genuinely grateful, you radiate wholeness, and wholeness attracts more wholeness. Gratitude has the unique power to collapse resistance. Often, people block their manifestations by clinging to worry, fear, or frustration about what has not yet appeared. This resistance creates a wall that keeps the very thing they desire from flowing in. Gratitude melts that wall because it shifts focus to what is working, what is present, what is already abundant. For example, someone longing for financial freedom may dwell on bills and debts, constantly reinforcing the vibration of lack. But if that same person begins to focus on the money they do have, however small, and feels genuine gratitude for every cent, they begin to broadcast a signal of abundance. That signal, when consistent, attracts opportunities, resources, and synchronicities that multiply what they already have. Gratitude does not ignore the desire for more. It magnetizes it by aligning with the feeling of already having. Gratitude also bridges the gap between the unseen and the seen. When you express gratitude for something that has not yet manifested, you signal to the universe that you already trust it is yours. This is one of the most powerful practices in manifestation, gratitude in advance. By thanking the universe for what you have not yet received, you act as though it is already done, and this act of faith aligns your vibration with the reality you are calling in. The subconscious mind begins to accept it as truth. The nervous system relaxes into it, and the energy field broadcasts certainty rather than doubt. This is why gratitude journals, affirmations of thanks, and daily moments of appreciation can be such powerful tools. They rewire the mind to expect blessings, and expectation is the blueprint of manifestation. Science has also begun to confirm the power of gratitude. Studies in psychology show that individuals who practice gratitude consistently report higher levels of happiness, lower stress, stronger immune systems, and better relationships. These improvements are not coincidences, they are evidence of alignment. Gratitude shifts the chemical balance in the brain, increasing serotonin and dopamine, the very neurotransmitters associated with joy and motivation. It lowers cortisol, reducing the stress that often blocks manifestation. When your body is aligned in this way, your mind is clear, your heart is open, and your energy is magnetic. Gratitude literally rewires your brain to see opportunities rather than obstacles, to notice blessings rather than problems, and to attract solutions rather than dwell on issues. The inner shift creates the outer shift, and gratitude is the catalyst. Gratitude also transforms relationships. When you focus on what you appreciate in others, you strengthen the connection, and they naturally respond with more of the qualities you affirm. If you constantly criticize or focus on what is missing in a relationship, you create tension, resistance, and distance. But if you practice gratitude by noticing small acts of kindness, the ways someone shows up, or even their mere presence in your life, that energy invites more love, more giving, and more harmony. The same principle applies to the relationship with yourself. Gratitude for your own growth, your body, your strengths, and even your challenges creates self-acceptance and self-love. When you appreciate yourself, you stop living in shame or self-judgment, and that shift changes how others perceive and respond to you. Gratitude, in this sense, is the soil in which love flourishes. Gratitude also expands perspective. Life will always present challenges, but gratitude allows you to see them through a lens of growth rather than defeat. When you are grateful even for difficulties, you extract the lessons, the strength, and the hidden blessings they carry. A setback becomes a setup, a closed door becomes protection, a delay becomes preparation. Gratitude reframes the narrative from victimhood to empowerment. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" gratitude shifts the question to, "What is this teaching me? How is this serving me?" This mindset shift alone can accelerate manifestation because it keeps you aligned with learning, expansion, and trust rather than resistance, anger, or despair. The universe rewards alignment with flow, and gratitude keeps you in flow even when circumstances are not perfect. One of the subtle but powerful effects of gratitude is that it quiets comparison. In a world filled with constant reminders of what others have, it is easy to fall into the trap of measuring yourself against them and feeling inadequate. Gratitude removes you from that trap by grounding you in your own abundance. When you are grateful for your unique journey, your path, your blessings, you no longer feel threatened by someone else's success. You see their abundance as proof of possibility rather than evidence of your lack. This not only keeps your energy clear, but it also allows you to celebrate others, which in turn attracts celebration for you. Gratitude frees you from jealousy and competition because it anchors you in the truth that there is enough for everyone, and the more you appreciate what you have, the more you create space for what you desire. Gratitude also works as a spiritual alignment tool. It is often said that prayer is asking, and gratitude is receiving. When you pray or set an intention, you are declaring your desire. But when you follow it with gratitude, you declare your trust. You signal to the universe that you already accept the blessing as yours. And that signal is what opens the channel for it to flow. This is why many spiritual traditions place such emphasis on Thanksgiving. It is not merely ritual, it is energetic alignment. When you live in gratitude, you are constantly affirming that life is abundant, that you are supported, and that the universe is generous. These affirmations shape your reality because they become the lens through which you perceive everything. Gratitude can be cultivated in both grand and simple ways. You do not need to wait for monumental blessings to feel grateful. In fact, it is often the small, everyday moments of gratitude that carry the most power. Gratitude for the air you breathe, the sun on your skin, the food on your table, the smile of a stranger. These small acknowledgments expand your awareness of abundance. When you start to notice the little things, you realize how surrounded you already are by blessings, and that realization attracts even greater blessings. The universe rewards attention, and when your attention is on what is good, good multiplies. This is why consistent gratitude practices, such as journaling, meditation, or simply pausing throughout the day to appreciate, can transform your energy so profoundly. Another key aspect of gratitude is its ability to shift you into the present moment. Most feelings of lack or stress come from dwelling on the past or worrying about the future. Gratitude roots you in now, reminding you that in this very moment, you have something to appreciate. That presence is powerful because manifestation always happens in the now. The universe does not respond to your future desires or your past regrets. It responds to your current vibration. When your current vibration is gratitude, you align with abundance in the only moment that truly exists, the present. This alignment accelerates manifestation because it eliminates the energy drain of longing or regret, and replaces it with the power of appreciation here and now. Gratitude also serves as a safeguard against entitlement. When you fail to appreciate what you have, you fall into the trap of always chasing, always wanting more, always feeling empty no matter what you achieve. Gratitude breaks this cycle by filling you with contentment, even as you grow. It allows you to hold desire and satisfaction together, creating a balanced state where you can manifest more without resenting where you are. This balance is essential because manifestation is not about desperate striving, but about aligned allowing. Gratitude gives you the capacity to enjoy the journey as much as the destination, and that enjoyment is itself a form of abundance. Ultimately, gratitude is more than a feeling. It is a way of being. It is the decision to view life through the lens of abundance, to trust that every moment carries blessing, and to radiate appreciation regardless of circumstance. When gratitude becomes your default state, your energy field becomes magnetic to more experiences, people, and opportunities to be grateful for. This is why gratitude is called a multiplier. It is not just that you feel better when you are grateful. It is that reality itself reshapes to match your vibration. The more gratitude you give, the more life gives you reasons to be grateful. It becomes a cycle of expansion, an ever-growing spiral of abundance, where gratitude begets blessing and blessing begets gratitude. Everything we've walked through across these 6 keynotes has been pointing toward one truth: that your reality is not random, it is responsive. The quantum field, the invisible intelligence that surrounds and flows through everything, mirrors the energy you broadcast. Thoughts, emotions, beliefs, gratitude, faith, action. All of these are not separate pieces, but parts of a single vibration you are constantly sending out. And the universe is always listening. You are not here by accident. You are not stuck. You are not limited by what you have seen so far. There is a version of you already living in the alignment you dream about, already walking in the abundance, peace, and joy you have prayed for. The bridge between who you are now and who you know you can become is not outside. It is inside. It is in the way you choose to think, the way you choose to feel, the way you choose to trust, the way you choose to act, and the way you choose to give thanks before the evidence arrives. Life is not waiting to bless you once conditions are perfect. Life is responding right now to the energy you hold. If you choose lack, you see more lack. If you choose fear, you meet more reasons to fear. But if you choose gratitude, if you choose trust, if you choose to align with possibility, you will begin to witness doors opening, opportunities aligning, synchronicities unfolding. And when you commit to this alignment day after day, the impossible begins to feel natural. This is the invitation to step beyond old limitations and into the field of infinite potential, to see yourself as a co-creator rather than a victim of circumstance, to realize that you are not just wishing for change, you are the change. The universe is already ready. The question is, are you ready to embody the version of yourself who lives the life you've been asking for?